Yes, it's Christmas week. Blinking lights are around. Stores are offering sales and parties are plenty. The breeze is sweeping through from Moran Point to Negril. While we celebrate, however, let's not forget the true meaning of the season. It's the time of forgiveness, compassion and caring. There are persons amongst us who need to feel loved, especially now when families are gathering. On today's edition of Jamaica Magazine, we remember the vulnerable within society and how we as individuals can bring a smile to their faces. Also in the show, we sit down with the Minister of National Security, Peter Bunting, as he reassures us that measures will be ramped up to ensure safety for everyone during the season.
Commissioner has really put on hold any non-essential administrative type activity and aim to put at least 80% of all police personnel on the streets, in the public spaces, in communities doing patrols, on operations targeting violence producers.
I'm Edwin Atkinson. It's another informative edition of Jamaica Magazine. Stay with us.
Christmas breeze of love. Can you feel it?
Tomorrow, there'll be a better tomorrow. 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 There'll be a day. There'll be a way. There'll come a time to sing a brand new song. There'll be a better tomorrow.
Christmas is here again, and there are so many things you may want to do this Christmas. For parents, you know how the children can be. They are anticipating gifts and making all kinds of demands. But how can you meet those expectations when money is tight? Well, you may want to consider this.
Why not engage the children? Talk to them about your financial situation. Let them know how much you have to spend and spell out the necessary things that you must buy. Let them help you design a budget and stick to it.
Talk to them about the possibility of postponing gift giving until a later date when you can afford it. Or choose to buy a gift the whole family will enjoy. Don't assume they won't understand. Talk to them. You will be surprised how understanding they can be.
There will be no skylarking during the festive season by members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, even as the country records a decrease in all categories of violent crimes. The members of the security forces are pulling out all the stops to ensure it's a peaceful Yuletide season. Security Minister Peter Bunting is our guest this week on Issues. He provides the answers as to how the men and women of the security forces will uphold the law. He's next with Ian Boy.
Minister, good to have you in our studio. Do we have reasons to feel safer this Christmas?
Absolutely. We have had a good year in terms of reductions in all major categories of crime, particularly in serious and violent crimes, double-digit reductions. We have about close to 700 fewer victims of serious and violent crimes this year. And when I speak to serious and violent crimes, this includes murder, shooting, rape, and aggravated assault. Murder, which of course you know is the headline statistic most people look at, we have had 192 fewer persons murdered this year. So if we really were to compare it with an improvement in any other economic or social statistic, I think we have to admit that is very significant. We're very encouraged by it, and we're very hopeful that we'll carry this momentum into 2015.
There's a marked increase in the presence of the security forces on the streets of the corporate area, certainly. Is it that you have pulled out almost everybody for this Christmas season? Let's talk about the season particularly, and what is being done to increase security and the sense of security.
This is a very deliberate strategy. The commissioner has really put on hold any non-essential administrative type activity and aim to put at least 80% of all police personnel on the streets, in the public spaces, in communities doing patrols, on operations targeting violence producers. So it's consistent with the strategy that you're observing, and I should say it's not just in the corporate area, it's right across Jamaica. There should be a noticeable increase in uniformed personnel on the streets.
Yeah. There have been some new initiatives downtown in terms of the police being more active in cracking down on extortion. Let's talk a little bit about that and the thrust of security in that area.
Well, the most organized criminal groups are driven by commercial motives, by profit, by making money. And one of the strategies that the police are employing is to choke off the supply of funds. So wherever, for example, criminal groups have commandeered parking lots, and then they proceed to operate it as a commercial parking facility, where they've commandeered any public space or public facility and using it to turn a profit, using it to extort payment, for example, from public passenger vehicles. The police are really targeting these areas to choke off the fuel, so to speak, for the criminal organizations.
Are you doing that in Spanish Town and other areas?
We're doing that particularly in the commercial districts, the market districts, downtown Kingston, Spanish Town, Montego Bay, really in all the major towns across Jamaica.
Minister, let's talk again about the significant reduction in major crimes. What would be the combination of strategies you would draw attention to, which has brought about this result?
Well, I think there has been a paradigm shift in the style of policing that we have had this year. And it's not accidental, it's very deliberate. We recognize that the so-called hard policing, just throwing more personnel and resources at a problem,
limited.
It was having limited results. And in a sense, you are pursuing a diminishing returns. So we felt stepping back, recognizing that the causes of crime are multiple and the contributors, but also recognizing that the style of policing can have a significant impact on it. We started very deliberately downplaying the paramilitary style of policing, emphasizing human rights, citizens' rights, trying to allow a relationship of trust to develop by having the same policemen in the same communities for longer periods of time, rather than these regular quick rotations, or having external policemen coming in from distant, from the mobile reserve or distant stations policing a community. We also, under our Unite for Change banner, which we've spoken to before, worked hard at forging partnerships between the police, churches, any citizens groups that are organized in the community, all citizens of goodwill, essentially, we have invited to become involved. And the communities where this partnership has been successful have seen dramatic improvements in the safety and security environment.
At this point, Minister, so we can talk more fully about that. The Minister of National Security, the Honorable Peter Bunting, giving us reasons why we should feel much safer this Christmas. When we come back from a short break, he will elaborate.
Oh,
Minister of National Security, the Honorable Peter Bunting, is our guest. We are talking about the reduction in major crimes, as well as the reasons why you ought to feel safer this Christmas. Minister, you were talking about the various partnerships which have been forged and how those have helped in the reduction in major crimes.
Correct. You might recall earlier in the year, you would have seen almost every week we were having peace marches in a number of communities. We were engaging schools. We were engaging churches. In fact, I felt at some point like I was an evangelist for
you
for
sounded
the
that
cause.
way too.
Perhaps. But we, as I said, in the communities that really responded, where we had pastors coming forward and accepting the challenge and forging relationships with the police. We have communities that, you know, traditionally have been very tough communities, like those falling within the West Kingston division. We had SSP McGregor. I tease him, I say he's more of a social worker than a policeman now, because he's organizing summer camps for the kids in association with churches. He's organized Christmas treats. He's getting them off the streets to imposing a homework curfew on them. And that is the sort of shift that we're seeing. Less curfews. We've historically, thousands of curfews are imposed every year in communities across Jamaica. We've made a deliberate decision that only in the most exceptional circumstances am I going to approve a curfew. And this year we've only had 14.
Only
like
14?
14 for the entire year, an average of 1 per month. One community for 72 hours for 1 per month.
And there used to be thousands?
And there used to be thousands. In fact, there were some communities that seemed to be perpetually on a curfew. And we...
So we have achieved this reduction of crime without curfews?
We've achieved it by doing less of a number of things. So we've had, you know, we've virtually eliminated the use of curfews as a routine type measure. We have reduced the number of arrests because the
That's
police...
a good thing?
That is a positive thing. People, in a situation where you have so much violent crime, it is better to prioritize the resources of the police against these violence producers. And the arrest that you might be making for possession of ganja or other minor offenses, which ties up police resources, contributes to overcrowding in lockups, is really not the most effective use of police resources. So one of the things we've been trying to let people understand, that it's not a matter of hard policing versus soft policing. What we're about is smarter policing. Where, you know, criminal gangs, hardcore violence producers require a tiered response. We recognize that they will need, you know, a mobile reserve or the special operational units to address that situation. However, the normal routine type of policing that the average citizen experiences must be the more civilian style of policing, with, you know, the red seaman or khaki, as the case may be. And persons who can engage citizens, who get to know them by name, get to know who is who, so that they don't have to do this sort of net fishing kind of operation where police would come into a community, cordon, scrape up a whole heap of young men primarily off the streets and carry them for processing. We found that this has developed a hostility, and we're changing that, and we're seeing the results. The police fatal shootings have been reduced by more than 50%.
More than 50%?
More than 50% in a single year. So if you aggregate persons who have lost their lives violently, whether from police fatal shootings or murders, we've had over 300 fewer persons losing their lives violently this year. This is very significant, and you know, I'm very encouraged by this.
Yes. And you are deliberately taking, Minister, a holistic approach to security. You're not just focusing on crime fighting. You're looking at the social, the relational issues.
One of the things that I've spent a lot of time, and the team at my ministry have spent a lot of time this year, is in schools. Because I have been surprised as I've done more research. I've spoken with persons like Professor Sams Vaughan to realize that from the early childhood level, appropriate educational interventions can reduce dramatically the likelihood of somebody following a criminal lifestyle as a teenager or a young adult. Similarly, interventions at the level of family, just having a father in a child's life improves their chances of being a responsible citizen and reduces the likelihood of them being involved in criminal activities and having a whole host of other issues. So we support groups like the National Association for the Family. We support the Parenting Commission. During November, we ran ads to support their work. And we work consistently throughout the year, particularly partnering with the Ministry of Education and the various schools, particularly the ones where there are challenges, where there are a lot of adolescents who are on the verge of dropping out of school or for various reasons are at risk. And we've been doing a lot of work through the CSJP program and under the Unite for Change umbrella to engage them and to try and give them encouragement, try and steer them in the right direction.
Mr. Just finally and briefly, what can we as citizens do to improve our own security this season? What's your advice to us?
There are a number of things you can do. The first and probably the most important, avoid handling large quantities of cash. Our financial system is such now that almost anybody can have debit cards or credit cards to do their business electronically. So that's the major magnet. The other thing is just to be vigilant. Sometimes you see people with expensive smartphones walking along nonchalantly and not being vigilant about what's going on around them. So just reducing the number of cash, being careful not to leave things on your car seat that might encourage somebody to either break into your car or wait for you to come back and rob you. I think just vigilance is the watchword for this.
Thank you very much, Minister. We need to have you back for the beginning of the year to talk about other issues to do with security. A pleased Minister of National Security, Peter Bunting, talking about significant improvements in the area of security, certainly a reduction in major crimes. Minister will be back with us in another 2 weeks to talk about other issues under his portfolio. We thank you very much for your company. Until next week, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.
Let's give love on Christmas Day is a popular line from a famous song. It actually describes the most valuable gift one can give for the season. Let's hear how we can spread cheer and joy and give love this season to those in need.
Give love on Christmas Day. Give love on Christmas Day.
This might be your Christmas experience, spending time with family and friends, uninhibited merriment combined with delectable food and drink. But there is a flip side to the Christmas reality, where uncertainty, despair, and hunger is constant. This reality is faced by some of the most vulnerable people in our society, the homeless and the indigent. There are instances too where wards of the state are overwhelmed by the lack of or limited family support. But there is a ray of hope, simply because one of the many gifts of the Christmas season is the ability to give. There are many organizations that have made philanthropy their cornerstone, among them the Salvation Army, I Fed One, and the Child Development Agency. And they are inviting you to join them in extending this gift during the Christmas season.
Yeah. Stevie
The ringing of the bell is their calling card, and the red kettle their signpost. Travel to any supermarket or shopping area during the month of December, and you will see the sharply dressed officers of the Salvation Army soliciting your assistance in the form of money, which in turn will be used to alleviate another's burden.
The Salvation Army continues to be what we call a caring organization who have we call a holistic approach to Christianity, serving both spirit, soul, and body of an individual.
During the Christmas season, their thrust to cater to the needy is driven through small community projects.
The main thing is providing food hampers for the less fortunate in our communities, and also to help with treats and so on for children in various communities.
And the monetary donations received through their Red Kettle Drive.
The funds received goes towards our Christmas effort and also help us during the year, particularly at this time to purchase food hampers and also provide toys and other we call it health care for persons in various institutions around Jamaica.
I Fed One is an organization driven by volunteers who are committed to providing more than food. They are driven by the desire to have the overall needs of others fulfilled.
The idea is that it is more blessed to give than to receive. So whereas we know that there are persons out there who need the help, we're saying there are persons out there who also want to help. So we actually give them an opportunity to help in that way.
We identify target groups, we create projects to suit those needs, those specific needs, and we solicit support from the general public.
The flagship project organized by I Fed One is their Christmas feeding program, where volunteers take to the streets of the Kingston metropolitan area and Spanish Town on Christmas Day to share with the homeless and indigent a little bit of Christmas feast. Since 2008, the program has catered to over 4,000 individuals with over 100 participating volunteers.
Just out there, just helping someone to have a meal, it's a wonderful feeling.
Although it was Christmas Day, we traditionally spend it with our families. It was just a few hours out of the morning that we sacrificed to share with others who, didn't have what we had at home, and to get to appreciate what their needs are. And we learned as well, more to appreciate what we have.
It's very important that we see a need, and that we not only see the need, but we act upon that need that is there. We cannot live for ourselves.
Our children are especially emotionally vulnerable at this time of the year. They have high expectations. Generally, they dwell on thoughts of eating all sorts of delicious food and, of course, getting presents. No one enjoys getting gifts as much as they do. The Child Development Agency, CDA, as the managing body for all government-operated children's homes, ensures that the children who are placed in the care of the government share in the joyous atmosphere of Christmas through an annual Christmas treat. For the children, it is a time for them to reconnect with family, as siblings are often housed in separate homes, and for them to create extended families with new friends.
Christmas is a time of giving and sharing, and children in the homes are looking forward to Christmas as well. And we try to provide that atmosphere where they can feel nurtured and loved, and create that atmosphere similar to any other home for the children that we have.
The CDA partners with a number of private and public entities to ensure that a complete Christmas package can be provided for the children.
During the season, we have a lot of corporate entities that do come in and provide some form of entertainment and treat for the children in care. But the CDA itself, the management and staff at the facilities, also plan functions and occasions for the children. We are partnering with Miss Jamaica Festival Queen 2014 to provide a shoebox with gifts to be presented to the children in select homes over the holidays.
The Salvation Army, I Fed One, and the Child Development Agency are on the front line, offering comfort to those who are not able to do so for themselves. Why not join them? You will be providing someone with a greater sense of self-worth. How can you get involved? You can donate toiletries, as simple as that. And if you want to add a touch of color, create individual care packages complete with books, bags, tin food, and so on. At times, the simple items we take for granted is greatly appreciated by those who are less fortunate.
Let this Christmas be a Christmas where you say, okay, how much can I give? How much can I impact? Rather than how much can I receive.
We realize that these are difficult times, but only as we give that we can look forward to receive even greater rewards.
Consider a child in care for Christmas. You could get a gift for them. Pay a visit to our children in our children's homes right across Jamaica, both government and privately owned homes. Give a little cheer to a child this Christmas.
Remember, practice this 9-letter word this Christmas. VOLUNTEER. Volunteer. Contact the organizations using the information on your screen and join the frontline movement. You will never know how your support can open doors, the lives that can be changed until you start giving.
Christmas is normally the best time of the year for many of us. But we're asking that persons ensure that the children are taken care of first of all, and the elderly. You know, that whatever we do, remember them at all times. But we will be seeing a lot of specials going on, special offerings and so on. So we ask that persons, when you read the ads or see the ads, do the math before you actually go and commit your hard-earned funds. This whole thing of paying down or not paying anything at all now and you pay in February, it seems like a good thing when you don't have money. But come January, when all the bills start coming up on you, then you're in trouble. So we ask that person, be very, very careful. We want you to have a good Christmas, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, we want you to be careful, and we don't want you to be weeping come.
You want to have a good New Year too.
Come January, right. So we ask that you listen to the ads, but do your analysis, do your homework before you go. And of course, the same old story, please do your budgeting. Impulse shopping normally pays so much. So do your budgeting, ensure that you look at your needs as opposed to your wants. And again, the children normally have a lot of needs and with a lot of gadgets and so on at the market. Now they want everything. You have to know how to, reward them, yes, but at the same time, have to temper them a little. When you go to the stores, ask basic questions. What about your refund policy? These signs that you see up, no refund, no exchange, by themselves, they are not illegal, but once there is an issue, the Consumer Protection Act kicks in. You are entitled to redress once there is a defect in the item or some other item that you can legitimately claim for.
Listen to these profound words. He who has not Christmas in his heart will never find it on the tree. Clergyman Roy L. Smith encouraging us to live in love. This is where we leave you for today. Our programs are online at jis.gov.jm. We've also got a YouTube channel, Watch JIS. Sound off by sending us an email at jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. Jamaica Magazine returns to your television screen tomorrow on this station. On behalf of all of us here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.